Let's bring you up to speed with the things we're tracking on the pages of the dailies. And you know the dailies capturing all of the incidents and what is happening across the country in one fell swoop. Ms. Ego Akaraga joins us virtually. Ms. Akaraga, thank you so much for coming on the program.
Yeah, good morning, Jeffrey. Pleasant morning to Kayode and Bukola there in the studio. It's a pleasure.
Yes, I thought
it's
you were...
It's a sad day, you know, it's a sad day. I was just following you as you were doing a preview of what the papers are saying. It's not, the story is always of very tragic developments across the country almost every day. It's sad.
Mr. Akaraga, I think that's where we'll get started from. Let's start with the Vanguard newspaper, which is leading with what we started off this morning with. Kaduna names of once of, as a matter of fact, the numbers just keep changing. I've heard 160, I've heard 166, I'm now seeing 177 on the Vanguard. Names of 177 abducted worshippers revealed. 177 abducted, 11 escaped, a group reveals. Police situation report confirms abduction. Attack occurred 1 week after 2.6 million ransom was paid for release of some villagers. That's according to source. Rights group accused security agents of blocking access. Abduction horrific, says U.S. lawmaker Riley Moore. Another unfortunate incident, according to opposition leader Peter Obi. Mr. Akaraga.
Well, as I said earlier, this is another very sad testament in our national security architecture. Now, let us not forget the problem of mass kidnapping is traceable to the 9th of April 14 to 15, 2014, when 276 girls were kidnapped from a government secondary school in Chibok. You know, the girls that were kidnapped were mostly Christians. I think that was what generated global attention and focus on Nigeria. Between 2014 and now, it has been unabating. From the Chibok girls kidnapped to Katsina, to Zamfara, to Plateau, Kaduna, Kwara, it is just a tale, you know, relishing the world with a tale of gross incompetence of a nation, as I will put it this morning, because truth be told, we cannot come into paper over these issues and pretend that all is well. We can't play the ostrich, bury our heads in the sand, and engage the rest of the world with falsehood, with, with belly stories about how we are possibly combating insecurity, and then the roof is on fire. Everybody can see it. How can 177, because I just read the police report that was jointly signed with the community, actually then finally admitting that those kidnapped were 177 from that coming Wali village in Kajuru local government area of Kaduna State. Now, I must make the point here. There is no point, you know, maybe trying to overflow the issue to say that the governor of Kaduna State has not done well. Ubasani has done well as a governor since he took office. You know, he has been able to plug all the loopholes. But as election approaches, that is where you begin to, you know, possibly look at the political dimension to the insecurity in Nigeria. In 2014, the 276 Chibok girls were abducted by terrorists to ambush the second-term ambition of Jonathan. That was really what happened. You know, after that, you know, we then saw global attention, and the girls were released piecemeal. Up to now, one of the Christian girls is still not released. It's still held. You know. Now, how do you take 177 people from a community, and nobody can just put a finger as to what happened? The first reaction will be to deny. That was also happened in 2014. There will be official statement denying the abductions before then finally admitting that people were abducted. Now, the problem with this lacuna, this denial and then acceptance, when you deny, when government denies, there will be little effort that is invested in trying to track those who kidnapped or who abducted these individuals, because you deny, which means it doesn't exist. The incident didn't take place. But if ab initio the government says, oh, people have been kidnapped here, there's nothing wrong in saying, look, there's a security breach somewhere. We understand that people have been kidnapped, but we are investigating. For now, we can't speak so much on the issue until we find out the facts. As you said earlier, you put a statement on holding, just admit, or you don't even admit, just present a neutral statement there, neither here nor there, while you are investigating. But when you deny outright, that is where the problem is. And I think the reason why government denies lately is because of the interest of the United States in the security situation in Nigeria, particularly as it affects Christian communities across the country. So the government will not want anything that has to do with mass abduction at this time, when, of course, $9 million has been allegedly paid, to a PRO firm in the U.S. to launder the image of the government as election approaches. So there's so much focus on 2027, and then there's less attention being placed on the security of lives and property of ordinary Nigerians. Honestly, I feel very unhappy this morning. It is sad. I'm sure most Nigerians reading the papers this morning or who listened to the news yesterday, we're very, very unhappy. It appears that we have become helpless as a country. So if we have to invite foreign support at this point, that's not to say that our security forces are not doing well. There are men and women of the Nigerian Armed Forces, the police, the DSS, and the civil defense. They are doing so well, but honestly, at this point, it's difficult to place our hands on what is really going on in our country.
Mr. Ikeria, we can't seem to talk enough about it. We could ask what happened to the withdrawal of about 11,000 policemen from VIP duties for redeployment to other critical areas where they are needed. We could ask what happened to the president's directive for the training of forest guards to boost security. We could ask also what has happened so far to the directive for increased recruitment of security agents to the relevant security forces, the police, the army. It's been, a couple of months since that directive, perhaps about 2 months. So where are the results? What we're seeing is, continuous reports of security breaches. Just yesterday, about 4 soldiers and an inspector were ambushed and killed somewhere in Zamfara State. So these are the outcomes. And you're quite right when you talk about how the focus is on 2027, and that's where we're headed now, as New Telegraph is reporting plans by the opposition. I'll take a look at New Telegraph this morning. 2027, Jonathan, others can contest, says PDP, as party zones presidential ticket to South. And former Vice President Namadi Sambo restates commitment to party. So there's some morale booster for the PDP despite its, many diminishing fortunes in recent times. But, Mr. Ikeria, it seems as if the PDP is looking the way of the former president for rescue, and now, more recently, to the former vice president. Where does this all lead the PDP?
Well, I will start by saying yesterday I listened to Hakeem Baba Ahmed, the brother to the former vice presidential candidate to Peter Obi, who said that it is time up for recycling some of these old hands. Nigeria is too big to be doing march past at one spot. Sometimes we take steps back. There's nothing wrong, really. I'm not averse to the candidature or the interest of former President Goodluck Jonathan. He did well during his time. There was economic stability, even though some individuals tried to also sabotage his government, by playing politics with security, and that is why we have not been able to deal with it. So Jonathan is ably qualified to contest the presidency 2027. But the issue is, why do we have to go back to Jonathan? Why do we have to be talking about Atiku Abubakar? We talk about President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. If you look at the age bracket of these individuals, you know, these are men that have seen their better days. Are we saying that there are no young people, no fresh hands, no fresh brain? We don't have young people with the necessary intellect and experience to, you know, to drive fresh leadership innovation in this country. We seem to be dancing in one spot, and the drum beat has not changed. It's the same tone every time. Once election cycle comes, people contest election, they win. Rather than focus on, you know, leadership, moving the country forward, moving people away from poverty, political leaders will immediately start preparing for the next election. I think that's a big problem in Nigeria. And that reminds me that maybe we should be, the debate should be around a single tenure for political office holders, governors, presidents, deputies, and their deputies. Maybe if you do 5 years, 6 years, this whole tension about trying to recycle people, possibly we'll be able to deal with it. As I said earlier, former President Goodluck Jonathan is ably qualified, but if I were him, I will decline. I will play from the back seat. I'll give directive and direction, you know, because as it is, if Jonathan throws his hat in the ring in 2027, if he wins and become president, he might likely in one term, that is 4 years, he might likely be unable to deal with the gargantuan situation we have in the country, from the economy to security to our international reputation and all of that. And at the end of the day, the reputation he has now may be diminished. I think that was what happened to the late President Muhammadu Buhari. Before he came to office in 2015, Buhari was almost like, he has a cult followership, a cult image, a great reputation, that he could fix anything. He chased Chadian rebels who crossed into Nigeria. He moved into Chad, dealt with them, restored the international boundary of Nigeria. He's an anti-corruption czar. He's incorruptible. All kinds of narratives, you know, were shown out before Buhari became president. Now, in 8 years, as Baba Akim said yesterday, Buhari left the country in a mess. He messed up everything from the economy to the fight against corruption to even the basics of leadership. Buhari couldn't deal with it. Well, it's late now, so we don't need to overflog that issue. So for me, President Goodluck Jonathan has an international reputation now that is going for him. I would think that he should be better advised to stay off the very murky, dirty political environment that we have in the country at the moment. It's the same PDP that messed him up. The PDP leaders betrayed Jonathan in 2015. They pretended that they were with him, and 3 months to the election, they turned their back on Jonathan. So these individuals are coming back to him. I think you know, if I were Jonathan, yes, he has said he's still a member of the PDP, but he should allow PDP members to go and stew in their own mess. They should go and clear their mess. It's unfortunate that the PDP has disappointed Nigeria by the internal crisis that they have not been able to resolve. The internal contradictions within the PDP are too numerous for even a Jonathan to fix if he decides to come into the race. He should look elsewhere and stay off and maintain his international reputation. That is my advice to Jonathan this morning.
Just quickly, this Nigeria, Mr. Keria, well, if politics is dirty, then who will fix it? Clearly, you need someone to fix it. But this Nigeria leads with something on the tax laws. Says give vulnerable persons time to adjust before enforcement. Catholic bishops demand, urge transparency, accountability. And you see, rising hunger, threat to global economic stability, UN warns. So how much time is enough time, particularly for the vulnerable, to adjust to these, you know, tax provisions?
We see, the There's no, if you look at the data, the figures, and if you look at all the papers this morning, they're also reporting, the economic situation in the country. Yes, at the World Economic Forum in Davos, in Switzerland, we saw the razzmatazz. The vice president is there opening the Nigeria House. A good one, a good image for the country with the optics that we see. But beyond that, back home, at the domestic front, how many Nigerians can feed themselves? How many Nigerians can even have a quality one meal a day? That is the challenge we have as a country. When other countries, are moving their people away from poverty, we seem to be evolving, developing policies that will further impoverish Nigerians. I have not seen the employment figures. How many Nigerians have been employed between 2015 and 2026? If you look at those figures, if the government is able to come up with those figures, then we can aggregate to say, okay, if you have been able to employ 5 million Nigerians, particularly graduates, our universities are turning out graduates, universities, polytechnics, and colleges of education are turning out graduates every year. What are the jobs for those graduates? What policy have the government put in place to employ some of these graduates, or at least create capacity in them for them to either create employment for themselves? Rather, the focus has been so much on taxes. There's nothing wrong in a government, developing a robust tax policies that can grow the economy, build infrastructures. But there is no transparency, there's no accountability, even in the money that in the huge resources that's available to government. Many of the roads across the country are still in deplorable state. At the federal level, some of the subnational, some of the states are doing very, very well with the resources accruing to them. A number of the states, Abia State, Enugu State, Delta State, even Kaduna State, Zamfara State, the governor is doing well there, Lawal. You have a couple of these governors that are doing very, very well. The Lagos State governor, if you go to Lagos State, you even see roads that are bad. Now, this government has not been able to link the railway from Kogi State to Abuja. And we are talking about coastal highway from Lagos to Calabar, from Lagos to Sokoto. We are relished with these highfalutin projects that we all know that will be difficult to complete. Why not even fix the existing ones, dualize them, make them motorable? Build more railways across states so that Nigerians can have ease of movement. And that can also create employment. If government is focusing on railway, building the roads, focusing on housing development, all of these are employment multipliers that can make Nigerians, have access to funds that then they can pay taxes to government. But when you don't create jobs, there's so much unemployment everywhere, and there's poverty, multidimensional poverty. So where is the money going to come from? And that is why the Catholic priests are saying that Nigerians are vulnerable. They are vulnerable, they are exposed to economic hardship. And so the government must listen to people. This is not the time, in my view, to impose more taxes on Nigerians.
Mr. Akarega, thank you so much for your submission this morning. As always, Mr. Akarega is a member of the Nigerian Guild of Editors, joining us from Abuja studios. Thank you, sir. We appreciate it.
It's always a pleasure. Thank you so much.
We'll take a break, and when we come back, we'll have a quick chat with someone who understands what has played out in Kaduna State, and then we'll go to other conversations around politics and more. Stay with us.